Welcome back. Now, in the last video, what we saw is that when we create an object like here OB and OB2, every object has its own set of data, right? So, if you remember that example that I have given over here is that we have two variables. These are normal variables, right? So, we are calling this input once, added up, then again input, then again when we call that add, we realize that this add is always referring to the values that OB has already taken input. But in some scenario, we would like to have a variable which should be shared between the multiple objects. So VB has a wonderful method or way of doing the that one by using a property called shared. Once now we don't use the word dim before it. So if you like declared your variable, like here the variable name is count, and which I have declared as a shared, and it is of type integer. Now, this count is shared between all the objects. What it means? Look at this. I have added up another method called counter. Now, this counter is just doing nothing, but it is just adding up 1 to every value of the count. All right. So now, let's say if you look at this scenario, what was happening is that, so if I run this, all right, now let's say OB, all right, calls the counter. Okay, then again OB2 will call the counter, OB2 dot counter, right? Now again let's say OB calls the counter. All right, try to be with me so that you don't get lost in what I'm trying to explain. Now first it will ask the input. Now input is going to deal with this NO1 NO2 which is not shared variable. So notice what happens. Let's run it once. So let's say 2 3, fine. So this is for OB. So NO1 is 2, NO2 is 3 for OB, right? Now again, so that's why the sum is 5. Now this is for OB2, right? So 10 and let's say 20, all right? That is for OB2. So now notice the result of the operation is 30 because 10. Then OB called that add again. So when OB called the add, the value of NO1 was 2, NO3. So can you see that it did not means it did not confuse itself with this 10 and 20. It knows that these are the values for this one. Now look at this one. This, the value of counter is 1. That's because we call this counter. But who called this counter? It is this OB. OB called the counter. So initial value of count will be what? 0. So 0 plus 1 is, so it will be 0 plus 1 is 1, right? So the value of the counter is 1. Now this is the special thing about this variable is shared. That means count now remains as 0. Sorry, it remains as 1. Now next time when OB2 calls the counter, it is already 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Correct? So now that's why the value of the counter is now 2. Again, it retains the value. Right? This is something like a static variable if you remember in other languages. Then again counter OB is calling the counter. So it is 2 now. So 2 plus 1 is, now it will become 3. Every time it retains the value. That means it is shared between both the objects. Even OB1 and OB2, they are using the same counter. Just if I add one more variable, let's say just for our this one, let's say CNT. All right. Sorry, I have to stop it first. All right. Just to explain you, let's say uh, what I'll do is that I'll use another variable normal CNT, all right, equals to let's say CNT as integer again. All right, now notice this is not a it is not a shared variable, right? Now here what I'll do is that I will add up that CNT also, right? CNT equals to CNT plus 1, right? Now this one, control C, just to copy. Okay, the value of the, I say shared variable, let's say shared variable is, it will be nice for us to know this way. Okay, and the value of the let's say normal variable, right? So now this will be normal variable, so this will be CNT, right? Now shared variable, we saw that it retains the value, but a normal value won't, isn't it? So that means, now again I'll come back to this. Okay, to avoid our confusion, what I would like to do is that I would like to now stop these. uh, means these are commenting. I hope all of you know that, right? So I'll comment it. I'll just keep this counter open. Now let's say I run this, right? Now notice the value of the shared variable is 1, it remains. When OB2 call, and the normal variable is, this is for OB, right? So this is for OB. So this is 1, this is 0 plus 1 is 1, right? Now when OB2 calls that counter again, the shared variable is 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2, but the normal variable again becomes 0. That means every time the object is calling it, the value becomes again back to 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. But the shared variable retains the value of 2, next time it becomes 3. So that is the major difference between a normal variable and a shared variable. I hope you understand. If you don't, please ask me questions in the comment section. Thank you.